What's up, everybody? It's Comedex, and welcome back to another Omniscience Draft, this time of the Core Set 2020 format. So Omniscience Draft is the format in which you cast everything for free. Everyone starts with 3 card hands instead of 7 card hands to balance that out, and you have an emblem that gives you 1 mana of every color a turn for activating abilities. So you do not get to activate abilities like Sorcerer of the Fang for free. You have to spend them with your emblem mana, so abilities like Sorcerer of the Fangs that cost 6 mana, you can't really activate at all unless you put some lands in your deck, which is almost never the correct choice in this format. So anyways, the general rules for the best way to draft this format are to just immediately, number 1 cards to pick up are cards that draw cards. You want cards that draw multiple cards the second you cast them. Cards like Winged Words that draw 2 cards when you cast it. Anticipate that looks at the top 3 and draws the best card out of them. And Drawn from Dreams that looks at the top 7 and draws the best 2 out of those. Those are all fantastic cards for this format and very, very high picks. Other than that, you can just take really big, bomby creatures. That way, after you've drawn a whole bunch of cards and looped a bunch of stuff, you have just the biggest board possible to hopefully be larger than whatever kind of solitaire madness your opponent establishes of their own. So those are the general drafting principles of this format. Number 1, draw spells. Anything that draws a bunch of cards. Number 2, gigantic bombs, whatever the biggest, scariest creature is. And then after that, if there's neither of those, that's when you can start drafting the things that you prefer. Maybe some removal to deal with your opponent's bombs, maybe cards like Mind Rot, so that if you're on the play and you play a Mind Rot turn 1 against their 3-card hand, that can be pretty mean. Make their 3-card hand a 1-card hand, stuff like that. So, based on those drafting principles, there are no cards in this pack that are all that good in Omniscience Draft, because nothing in here draws multiple cards, nothing in here draws any cards at all, and nothing in here is a bomb. So definitely not the greatest start to the draft, but let's read through the cards here and see what we think is going to work best. So we have Brought Back. Choose 2 permanent cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. Return them to the battlefield tapped. That can be okay after some combat. Usually you're just going to be trading gigantic creatures all the time, so Brought Back could get both of them back, so that maybe is okay. Probably not the greatest, though, since it is a pretty specific card. Negate can be okay, because it can counter your opponent's cards like Drawn from Dreams that could potentially draw them multiple scary cards. Negate would be a good card in situations like that. Mind Rot could be good, as I said before. If you play this on turn 1 and you're on the play, you can turn their 3-card opener into a 1-card opener, which is pretty mean. And other than that, we have like Rabid Bite, which is removal, or we're just taking a random creature. None of these creatures are that fantastic. Octoprophet does set up future draws, so that could be nice. And Warden is flying, so it is evasive, which can be nice as well. But overall, not a super exciting start here. You can also just take Overgrowth Elemental because it's an elemental. Risen Reef in this format, since you're not playing any land cards, Risen Reef is just always, whenever you play an elemental, draw a card, period. So Risen Reef is fantastic in Omniscience Draft, so that does make other elementals pretty high picks as well, if you have Risen Reef in your deck, which we don't right now, but like, we're not losing a whole lot by just taking an Overgrowth Elemental here, because there's nothing else in here that's super exciting. I think Octoprophet is probably just the best card, because we can look at the top 2, and if neither of them are just powerful draw spells, just scry them away and try to get towards them. So, a few other things I want to mention before we really get into this draft here. This format is really just about chaotic, fun, Yu-Gi-Oh! Style, one-turn kill style shenanigans, where you play a whole bunch of cards in one turn. And as such, I recommend it to those who want to have that kind of chaotic fun. I do not recommend this format if you're trying to expand your collection with a lot of good rares and stuff, because in this format, in regular draft, you play 23 cards and 17 basic lands usually. In this format, you're going to be playing 40 cards that you've drafted, and you draft 45 cards total, which means pretty much everything that you draft minus only a few cards you have to play. So there's a lot less wiggle room for drafting random off-strategy rares and stuff like Brought Back. Like if we draft Brought Back, we pretty much have to play it. Like it's very unlikely that we get to cut more than a few cards. So not the greatest format for trying to just draft a bunch of rares and stuff alongside your draft deck and just shove them in the sideboard. And the other thing that I would say is it is worth noting when you're making your decisions in Omniscience Draft that there are a couple infinite combos you can get. The easiest one, the one that you will probably see if you play a decent amount of this format, is Scholar of the Ages and Unsummon. Scholar of the Ages is a 7-mana 3/3, and it returns 2 instants or sorceries, well, up to 2, from your grave to your hand when it enters the battlefield. Unsummon is an instant, return a creature to its owner's hand. So if you play a Scholar of the Ages, and then you play an Unsummon to return Scholar of the Ages to your hand, you can then play Scholar of the Ages and return the Unsummon plus another instant or sorcery from your grave back to your hand. So if you have Scholar of the Ages plus Unsummon and a Shock, then you just kill your opponent immediately, because you play Scholar of the Ages, returning Unsummon and Shock, and then Unsummon Scholar of the Ages, and then cast Shock again, and then cast Scholar of the Ages, returning them both. You can just do that over and over again until your opponent has been dealt infinite damage. And Scholar of the Ages basically is just going to win the game. If you have it and Unsummon, it's just straight up win immediately. So Scholar of the Ages is an insanely high pick, and it's worth thinking about when you see cards like Shock. They might be worth playing just for the potential of, like, if you get Scholar of the Ages, you get to kill your opponent. So that is worth mentioning here. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and actually just take Overgrowth Elemental. Actually, no. You know what? I'm going to try my best here. I'm going to take Octoprophet, because I do not know for certain if we will get a Risen Reef or not. And the other elemental is only really good if we get a Risen Reef. Octoprophet at least sets up our draws by itself, so we will take an Octoprophet. So here we have Audacious Thief or Befuddle, and Audacious Thief is not very exciting because it doesn't draw a card immediately. It draws the card when it attacks. By the time it attacks, it'll have been a turn after you played it, and your opponent will definitely have creatures larger than a 2/2, so Audacious Thief is basically always going to die the second it attacks. So this is basically just draw one card. So it's like on par with Befuddle in this format, which is not super fantastic, and it's not terrible either, but it's okay. So we might just take Angelic Gift here. I think Angelic Gift and Befuddle are pretty even. Befuddle has the versatility of being able to cast it at instant speed and letting you draw that card no matter what creature you target. But Angelic Gift has a lot of potential if you've gotten late in the picks. You usually end up just drafting random big creatures like Ripscale Predator, and Angelic Gift on Ripscale Predator is pretty terrifying, as well as it obviously drawing you a card, letting you get further into your deck, trying to draw into your scary stuff. So I like Angelic Gift quite a bit here. See what we have in this pack. We have Kelton Raider, which is a card I like quite a bit in this format. As I said before, you draft 45 cards total, and you have to play 40 of them, so your deck will definitely end up with cards that are bad. You will definitely end up with at least a couple cards that are just like Barity Vampire or something like that you are 100% okay with discarding to draw a card. So this is basically a 4/3 that when it enters the battlefield draws a card, which is a very powerful card. And there's also Bone to Ash, which is also very good in this format because everyone's playing really scary creatures all the time for free. Bone to Ash can counter any of them and let you draw a card. So Bone to Ash and Kelton Raider are both pretty good for Omniscience Draft. They're basically the only thing in this pack I would really consider as long as they are both in the pack. So I'm going to take... Kelton Raider is the more proactive card, where you're trying to get your own stuff going, and Bone Dash is the more defensive card where you're trying to make sure your opponent doesn't do anything too scary. I think I'm going to take the more proactive card here and just try to make our deck as crazy as possible. Here we have another Kelton Raider, which could be very good. Moldavine Reclamation could be interesting as well. Whenever another creature you control dies, gain a life and draw a card. Could be very good in a slower game where you both are in a board state. Well, in a board stall. This is basically just impossible to beat. Yeah, this is a very good pack. I mean, Kelton Raider, Octoprophet, Moldervine Reclamation, and Scampering Scorcher are all very, very good here. And the reason Scampering Scorcher is good is because if you draft a deck that draws a bunch of cards super fast, there's not a whole lot of ways to win immediately. Scampering Scorcher is one of those ways. Because if you get enough elementals, you can give all of your elementals haste and kill your opponent immediately. So that's probably not worth it, but it's worth mentioning because it's cool. It's also very, very good with Risen Reef, which is already a good card in this format. I think I'm actually just going to go with Moldervine Reclamation here. It is definitely a slower card. It's not something that's going to immediately draw us a bunch of cards, but it seems like it's very high potential. I think Kelton Raider and Moldervine are definitely both very, very good picks, followed by Octoprophet being a little bit worse. And then, like, Fairy Miscreant, if you get a bunch of them, could potentially be worth it. But it's probably just Kelton Raider, Moldervine, Octoprophet, and then Rip Scale after those. Because I don't know how much of a fan I am of Fairy Miscreants, because if you don't get enough of them, it's going to be very bad. Alright, we got another Befuddle. It's going to be hard to take anything else over that. Yeah, we're just going to go with a Befuddle. Just allows us to draw a card, period, which is always great in this format. Here we can take Vorsclaw or Bone to Ash. I think it's pretty easy. Bone to Ash, draw those cards. You got to stay pretty diligent in this format and make sure you have a lot of draw spells. Alright, this pack, we don't have a lot that's very good. A bunch of small creatures. One of them shuffles cards back, and just a big boy. So I guess we're taking the big boy. Vorsclaw, get in here. Manifold Key actually could be okay in this format. Is there anything else that's great? Sanitarium Skeleton is actually pretty good with Moldervine Reclamation and Kelton Raider. Yeah, that's fantastic with Kelton Raider. That's just fantastic with both of those. That's very interesting, actually. You do get 1 mana of every color every turn, so you can use Sanitarium Skeleton's ability once per turn, and you can use Manifold Key's ability once per turn. And Manifold Key, if you have a deck full of 7/7s that you can play for free, it's actually kind of impressive, so I like both of these cards a lot. Please do not take Cryptic Caves, by the way. You can only activate the ability to draw a card if you control 5 or more lands. So while it seems like a good idea at first because you can sack it and draw a card, you can't do that unless you have 5 lands. You are never going to have 5 lands in this format. You're probably going to have 0 at all times. Anyways, Sanitarium Skeleton, and Manifold Key. What do we do? I'm going to go with the Skeleton here. Just a classic good card. We got Mind Rot and Negate, or just like a 4/4. Or Squad Captain might even be bigger than the 4/4 sometimes, but I think most of the time the 4/4 is just going to be bigger. I kind of want to just take the 4/4 here. Both of these cards are so coin flippy. Like, they're potentially really good, but there's also just a lot of situations where they do nothing. I want to have a deck that just consistently does something at the very least. Alright, Goblin Smuggler's not fantastic. So I guess just the 6/5. And Bone to Ash. Very nice late Bone to Ash there. None of these cards are impressive at all, so I guess we take Fairy Miscreant at this point. Because no matter what, whenever we draw any of these 3, we're going to feel like it's an absolute dud. So might as well take the one that potentially won't feel as bad if we get more of them. These cards are all bad as well. We'll take a Sage's Road Denizen. Because if we get one of the infinite combos, that'll be a way to kill our opponents. And Wolfkin Bond it is to end that pack there. Alright, this pack is not great. Steel Overseer is just not fantastic. It's pretty slow, like way too slow for this format. Gruesome Scourger is a way to kill your opponents. If you have enough creatures and enough draw, like enough Kelton Raiders to just keep running through your deck, could do stuff. Do we have anything that draws cards here? I guess we have one of Blade Brand, so that's going to be the pick for now. And what do we have here? Soul Salvage is actually pretty okay. Because, as I said before, it usually ends up with just a lot of big creatures on both sides, and they're going to start trading at some point. Soul Salvage will pick two of them back up. And if you happen to get creatures like Kelton Raider with good enter the battlefield effects and they trade earlier, those are fantastic to pick up with Soul Salvage, so it's actually a pretty good card. So Angelic Gift, Soul Salvage, both very nice pickups here. I'm going to go with another Angelic Gift. Just stay on the proactive train here. Now, we actually do have double Angelic Gift, a Blade Brand, a Befuddle. That's 4 right there. And a Wolfkin Bond 5. We have 5 things that will draw a card off of a Season of Growth. So, we could try to be Season of Growth combo. Yeah, that sounds interesting to me. So Season of Growth, whenever you target one of your creatures, you get to draw a card. So if you have a bunch of stuff like Angelic Gifts, that's actually kind of insane. That definitely makes Angelic Gift an even higher pick here. Might just take a Pacifism here, just shut off one of our opponent's really big cards. Salvager of Ruin is not bad in this format as well. As I said before, there's just gigantic creatures everywhere. So whenever you lose your gigantic creature in combat, just picking it right back up and playing it again, not the worst. Duress is not the worst either, because you can stop your opponent from doing some kind of crazy Drawn from Dreams type thing. And Act of Treason, we can steal our opponent's creature or just target our own to draw a card with Season of Growth, but I guess we can do that with Pacifism as well if that's where we're at. I think I'm going to take the Pacifism here. We'll take a little bit of defensive cards at this point. Now, not a very exciting pack. We can just take a 4/4. We can take a Wolfkin Bond since it draws a card with Season of Growth. We can take Agonizing Siphon because it draws a card with Season of Growth if we have a big enough creature. And if we don't have Season of Growth, this could actually do something to our opponent or their creatures. I'm just going to go with the Wolfkin Bond, I think. What have we here? Blade Brand is fantastic for this deck. It's just going to draw a card when we play it no matter what, and if we have Season of Growth, it's going to draw 2. And drawing 2 is ridiculous. Play Aerial Assault seems pretty bad. I think Pacifism is way better than Aerial Assault. We would rather get more cards like that, but we can't always get what we want. I think I'm just going to take Soul Salvage. All of these creatures are very small, especially by Omniscience standards, and Aerial Assault, by the time a creature's tapped, it's already gotten, like, because the creatures are so big, it's already done so much. So I think I'm just going to take Soul Salvage. Now what do we got? Nothing very exciting yet again. I think we just take the biggest creature, which is just a 5/4. We already have multiple Angelic Gifts, so Zephyr Charge is like definitely not going in this deck. That just gives 1 creature flying per turn, because you get 1 mana of every color, so you only get 1 blue per turn, so it's basically just a way worse Angelic Gift. So Fire Elemental is what we shall roll with. It is the biggest dude. We can take a Bone Splinters, we can take a Gruesome Scourger, we can take a Mind Rot. It's probably just one of these 3. It's definitely just one of these 3. I'll take a Bone Splinters. Seems fine. I would like to pick up a little more removal than I have had recently. These all seem not great. Inspired Charge is pretty high potential. You can just draft a deck with, like, yeah, a bunch of Fairy Miscreants or a bunch of Legion Conquistador creatures. I forget what they're called in this format, but the 3 mana 2/2 that when it enters searches for another one, that with Inspired Charge can be really good. So Inspired Charge is actually okay here. Doesn't seem fantastic in this deck, though we definitely seem like just a large creature deck. So I'm just going to take another, well, my first Aerial Assault. These are all bad. Just take either of these triggers, the Season of Growth. Guess I'll take the Lifelink one, because Lifelink is very good on a very big creature. Now we'll take a Salvager, and a 4/4, and a Soulmender, and a Plains. Alright, final pack here. We're definitely not taking the land, as nice as it is. I think we are just taking Bone to Ash. Murder is great. Overcome is great as well, though. It actually is probably just between Murder and Overcome. I think these cards are probably powerful enough that they're actually just slightly better than Bone to Ash. Maybe not Murder, but Overcome, like... Overcome can definitely be lethal. I don't know, though. Are we really an Overcome deck? We only have a couple, actually, big creatures. We have mostly just cantrips and stuff. But that is the life. Yeah, I don't actually think we're playing Overcome. It's probably Bone Ash or Murder. Just take another Bone Ash. Woo! Cavalier of Knights. Are we playing that? Is there anything in here that's really good? Not really. I mean, there's Bone Ash, but Cavalier of Knight, though. 4/5 lifelink, sack a creature, destroy a creature an opponent controls. When it dies, return a creature CMC 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So that's... The death trigger's probably not going to happen a lot, but, I mean... 4/5 lifelink, and you can sack a creature, destroy a creature? Seems pretty good. Alright. This pack seems to suck. Pay 2 life, discard a card, sack a creature, create a 5/5 flyer. I just don't think... I mean, you get to play it immediately. 5/5 flyers is a big deal, and I do have a Sanitarium Skeleton. That might be okay? That might be okay. I kind of want to try that. I'll take the Blood-Soaked Altar, then. Let's see what we have here. Abilities we can't play. Kelton Raider is good. Night Pack Ambusher. Alright, that is never going to make 2/2 wolves. That is just never going to make 2/2 wolves. So it's a 4/4 flash, which is good. But not as good as in a regular draft. I think we just take Kelton Raider. Kelton Raider is just always very spicy in this format. Should take a big old Dragon Mage. Yeah, I'm going to take a big old Dragon Mage. I think I'm going to take Fairy Miscreant out of this deck. I'll take another Season of Growth here. Nothing else very exciting. Now we take another just big old Dragon Mage or a Wolfkin Bond. Take a big old Dragon Mage. Now we take Wolfkin Bond or Uncaged Fury. Both just because they work with our seasons. Let's just have a whole bunch of Wolfkin Bonds. I mean, Uncaged Fury can do so much damage. Dragon Mage plus Uncaged Fury? That sounds so stupid. We're going to draw so many cards. Let's do that, actually. We're going to take the Uncaged Fury just because that could potentially be really stupid. Not even like in a good way. I'll take an Active Treason now. I can target my own thing to just draw cards if I'm in that situation. Might as well. Do I want Duress or do I want the 3/3 that can pump my field? I'm just going to take the Duress. I don't feel like a 3/3 is that exciting, but I don't want another Duress, so I'm going to take a Wolfkin Bond. And now we're to the sucky creatures. 1/6? Do I just want a 1/6 or just another target card? Take another target card. Take a card I'm not going to play. Oh no. Now I have to start cutting cards. Alright, these are probably the 4 worst cards that I have. So those are the cards we're cutting, and we're playing this gigantic pile, as most Omniscience Draft piles look. So let's see how these games go. The format is definitely ridiculous. I would not be surprised if we get infinite comboed. I wouldn't be surprised if we play against, like, just a terrible deck. A lot of things I wouldn't be surprised by. Alright. You never know what can happen. Alright, looks like we might just die immediately. This could be very bad. Oh my god, they're playing our deck! There's Season of Growth. Wait, we didn't get, like, any winged words, did we? That feels really bad. Season of Growth, Angelic Gift. That is the combo we're running. Cavalier of Knights plus Active Treason looks so spicy here, that's why I just am waiting for them to play another creature before I do anything. I mean, it's also their turn right now, but just overall the game plan. Battalion Foot Soldier for 1 more Foot Soldier. Befuddle plus Season of Growth. Yep, that is a thing you can do. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's happening. It's just, it's happening on our opponent's field and not ours. Chandra, Acolyte of Flame.
Won't lie, I'm a pretty great pyromancer.
It's not actually that oh, wait. The flashback ability, never mind. The only ability I completely never paid attention to before is actually really good in this format.
Yeah, I like to think on my feet.
I was about to say it's not impressive in this format, but that's just the 1/1 elemental ability that everyone uses in the other formats. Wow. I mean, it's over. That was brutal. So, Thought Distortion would exile all of our cards except Cavalier of Knights, and there's just no way we're stopping their 5,000 cards with a single Cavalier of Knight. That was absolutely brutal. Alright. This hand is definitely worse than the last one, but it might not matter what's in our hand if our opponent just combos us off immediately. Opponent has a Cavalier of Knight. I remember that guy. He doesn't do anything when your opponent draws their entire deck on turn 1. Don't bone to ash me. I'm trying to draw cards over here. Man. I'm just going to have to block this with... Actually, no, I don't. I have an aerial assault. What am I talking about? Just play both these dudes, and we are not blocking. Anticipate. Very good card. Stone Golem. Vilis! Oh god, we just lost again. Oh my god. So they get to spend 1 black, give a creature -1/-1 till end of turn, and pay 2 life, and draw 2 cards. And there's Thought Distortion again. Oh wow. Diviner's Lockbox. It is insanely unlikely they hit whatever they think they're going to hit. But they draw 2 cards a turn, including during my turn, so we are very, very dead. So the one thing that I should definitely note about this format, if I haven't already, which I probably have, is this format is insanely luck-based, like more so than regular draft. Because there are a lot of determining factors that are just going to decide whether or not your deck is good at all. Like how many winged words and cards like that even show up in your draft pool to begin with, which we didn't have a whole lot of. We had an okay amount. We had enough to get like the Season of Growth combo style stuff going on. But also whether or not you open something that is absolutely brutal in this format like Vilis, that will just draw like 20 cards by himself. It'll draw as many cards as you have life, just 2 a turn. So, we are tremendously dead. This format is definitely not for the faint of heart. If you do not like dying in approximately 2 minutes, this is not the format for you, because it can absolutely happen. And as such, this entire draft might just go 0-3. So, you know, you win some, you lose some. Just gotta deal with the hand you've been dealt sometimes. Let's see if we can get a single win here in this Omniscience Draft format. It looks like nobody wants to play. Oh, there we go. Alright. Let's see if we can defeat this Chandra player. Act of Treason, Bone Ash, Uncaged Fury. I mean, it's not very good, but I'm going to keep it because I can at least Bone to Ash a creature if they play one. Yay. Alright. Well, Bone Ash it is. And there's Negate. And we're about to just die turn 1. I could do 16 damage to them with Active Treason Uncaged Fury, though. Maybe that is play. Alright, here's Octoprophet. They have a Bone Ash of their own? Nope. We will scry. Ooh, these are both actually very good. I guess if I just pick Kelton Raider on top, I get to play Kelton Raider, discard one of these cards, and draw the Moldravine Reclamation. Seems good. Night Pack Ambusher. There it is, alright. Swinging in for 11. I'm just going to take it. I don't feel like Uncaged Furying to kill Vorsclaw here. I would like to get some value out of Moldervine coming up. Alright, Kelton Raider. Discard Active Treason. Moldervine. Cool. We are set up to potentially come back. It's not super likely. Their board is very impressive. Yep. Yep. Well, we got disenchanted straight out of this game. Boy. Well, I have a feeling we're about to 0-3 the Omniscience Draft. Yeah, I mean, they have a Night Pack Ambusher and 3 cards in hand, and I just have a 4-4. That does not poop out 2/2s 24/7. So yeah, Night Pack Ambusher definitely good on an empty board style situation like this, but overall I still don't think it's that impressive in this format. Like, if you compare this to how we lost round 1 and round 2, Night Pack Ambusher just seems like kind of nothing. But I don't remember what I took over it. It's probably better than whatever I took over it, if I'm being totally honest. I don't remember. Dragon Mage is here. And a Barony Vampire. And a Metropolis Sprite. And a Griffin Sentinel. And a Yarok's Wave Crasher. And a Dragon Mage. Yeah. I mean, I'm just dead. I am very dead. I can block 4 of their creatures. I cannot block that 5-power flyer. They have lethal on board if they just click all attack. And then we will 0-3 our Omniscience Draft together. Oh my god. Just click the all attack button. Okay. I was gonna say, I'm like, 0 cards in hand. Not the largest amount of math in the world to do here. And we are super dead. Well, that is going to end today's Omniscience Draft. Thank you all for watching. That is probably going to be my last Omniscience Draft. I just cannot justify spending the buy-in on these things when they are so coin flippy. I don't know, I feel like I just got very hosed in the draft and gameplay process of both of these drafts that I've recorded here. But yeah, I mean, it happens. It's not the end of the world. We still get a pack from it at the very least, and we got to play and see what the format was all about. I just feel like that was just by far the worst experience I've had in Omniscience Drafts ever, period, was how I did in these two. Like, straight up, just 1-3 into 0-3. Just didn't see a lot of very powerful draw spells in our drafts. Definitely not nearly as many bombs as we played against. And, yeah, just overall, not a great couple days. But thank you all so much for taking that journey with me. I am very excited about the future of Magic Arena coming up here. We are moving into... Why can't I click on the home? Magic Arena is not working. Alright, well, that is exciting too. Because maybe that'll get fixed in the future as we are still in beta. I literally can't click on anything now except for get packs, and I do not want to buy packs, so that's fantastic. Anyways, what I was trying to say is I'm very excited for what's coming to Arena in the future, so I'll have plenty of other videos on the channels that will hopefully be more optimistic, more entertaining, more win-filled than these past couple. Yeah, so we are going into the renewal season. That's what I'm excited about, because they are giving us a lot of events and rewards and stuff like that to help us get started in collecting cards for the new standard format. So they're going to have a lot of stuff with more experience for us to finish off our Core Set 2020 Mastery passes. Thumbs up to that. They are going to have... they're just going to give us a bunch of random rares and stuff when Throne of Eldraine comes out. Thumbs up to that. Even more to people who were playing before Throne of Eldraine come out. Like they're adding on to the Throne of Eldraine Mastery Pass if you played before Throne of Eldraine came out. So that's exciting. And obviously Throne of Eldraine is exciting. We don't know any of the cards from it yet, but it's a new Magic set coming out at the end of the month. I'm super excited for that. Going to play a lot of that. And Historic is coming out. Excited about that. Going to see what that format shapes up to be. Right now, people are a little bit concerned. Just because it's pretty expensive to play. You have to spend 2 wild cards instead of 1 for anything in the Historic formats. But I'm still excited to see if that format ends up being pretty fun. And also, Brawl, they have said, is going to come to Arena by the end of the year. So, excited for that coming up. So, I still can't close Magic Arena the normal way. So, I'm going to go ahead and leave and see if I can figure this out. Thanks for watching. Bye.